Hello. It is a brand new day, and frankly a brand new opportunity to talk about my pets, because Cygnus, my Great Plains rat snake, has a brand new giant enclosure. It is a 2 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot PVC enclosure from Temperate Designs, and we are starting off with a custom background, as always. We're just starting with spray foam, just great stuff, expanding foam, as always, with some cork bark. I found this really ginormous cork tube at a reptile expo, and my plan is to make a bit of a tree trunk type feel. I have a plant pot just kind of shoved inside of the tube. It was a perfect size for a plant pot. How am I not going to just put a plant pot in a tube when I see the opportunity? So my goal is to make it into a tree trunk with a plant growing out of the top as if it was a tree with leaves, you know. It had a really cute hole in the cork that Cygnus can slither through. It also acts as another hide because I ripped off part of the cork to make a little hide underneath. And then I just had the rest of the sides just with some extra cork bark. I also added a dried mushroom to this side that I'm spraying now. We know I love adding mushrooms to backgrounds, and I think they just look really cute. I would recommend putting the side that you're spraying onto the floor so that gravity is working with you, because the foam does start to kind of glide down as you spray it, duh. But I was being impatient because it was cold outside, and I've been wanting to get this enclosure done for months. The other side of the enclosure is going to be a rocky background. My goal is like one side foresty and one side rocky, just to give it some texture, some pizzazz, some variation. I wanted more climbing opportunities, so that's why I wanted a bunch of ledges that I couldn't really add with the foresty side. So I'm just using extra pieces of styrofoam that I cut into ledge shapes, and then the rest was spray foam. This is the most ambitious build I've ever done. I've never done a build this big. I've never done this much of a background before. I'm very proud of myself for how it came out. I then carved the foam, and which I did not get footage of, but as you can see, it's half wood, half rocky. It'll look better once it's better. Since there were vents on the side of the enclosure, you could see the spray foam through it, and I just wanted to cover that up a little bit, so I just painted the in between the cracks black. To be fair, the vents weren't really supposed to be there. Temperate Designs does custom enclosures. You can ask for all types of variations of enclosures for PVC enclosures or acrylic enclosures, and frankly it's my fault. I forgot to remind Dale that there were not supposed to be vents on the sides, only the top, because I had planned to do spray foam inside, but it's not that big of a deal. It looks fine once it's painted. You can't really tell. Then I carved the foam and siliconed the back of the woodsy side, the foresty side. I just did the silicone method and put cocoa fiber with moss and leaf litter into it. I like to mix the stuff together because I think it looks more natural. I think if it's just cocoa fiber, it looks a little unnatural to me personally. You may be thinking, Brooklyn B, didn't you just give Cygnus an enclosure upgrade? Isn't there a video on your channel about this exact snake? Yes, but I hated that enclosure. and I think about deleting that video every day. But I don't, because we like to show progress and the evolution of keeping reptiles, so I keep it up. I mainly hated the enclosure. One, it did not hold humidity well. I wanted a PVC enclosure. Corn snakes and rat snakes tend to be called arid snakes. I disagree. I think they need a lot more humidity than we give them credit for. Cygnus always had a hard time shedding when he was kept in arid conditions, so I want to change it. And if you research where corn snakes and rat snakes are from, they're not from, California, like Southern California. They're from like Florida and more humid places, so I wanted somewhere for him to be more comfortable, where humidity is kept better, and that glass enclosure just wasn't doing it. 2, the plants couldn't survive in that enclosure. 3, it was a top opening like fish tank that I had like snake clips on. It was just a hassle to get in there. I don't like coming from above when approaching reptiles. I just think it makes them uncomfortable. None of us were happy. I hated doing maintenance on that thing. It was just awkward. I'm slowly converting all of my pets into only front opening enclosures, so this was one that really needed to get done because I did not like that enclosure at all. I don't think I did a very good job with the plant selection. I just really didn't like it, so if you ever go see that video, don't. Or you can, and then you come back here and you're like, wow, what an upgrade, what a happy snake. And I'll say thank you. For the rocky side, I am using grout mixed with sand and acrylic paint to give it color. I don't have much footage of me painting it. I'm using a really nasty old brush that I only use for grout. I'm just packing it on. I don't have a technique. I packed on a bit more sand on top to give it more texture. I started out with kind of a runnier solution of grout, and then I would pack on some more thick grout. I just wanted a rocky texture. Later I painted it with just acrylic paint. I would spray it. I had a mist, it's like spray bottle full of acrylic paint and water to kind of give it speckles, and then I would just brush on some more color to give it as natural of a finish as I could. I'm going to have a whole video on rocky backgrounds soon. I'm giving my leopard gecko an enclosure upgrade soon. That will be, I have big hopes and dreams for this enclosure, so that will be a whole video just about rocky backgrounds soon. But that's kind of the gist of how I did it. This is me misting it with color. I would just do multiple different colors, speckled of darker, lighter. Just use your imagination, or reference pictures, better yet. The rocky side is also my hot side of the enclosure, while the woodsy side is my more humid, cool side of the enclosure. I wanted rocks for basking. I have these really pretty real rocks that I wanted him to be able to bask on, so I just wanted the enclosure to match that. Like, I found the rocks and I was like, I need an enclosure to suit these rocks, so that's my goal with it. That's why I chose these colors. I also really like the contrast of the light, warm undertone rocks with the dark, contrasted, woodsy background. I just like it. I'm proud of myself. And I will say that I lost a lot of this video. I have been using a new camera recently, So if you notice that my recent videos have been struggling a little bit, it's because I've never used a camera before, really. So I went to upload the second half of my video, and my SD card said no, sorry. Just kidding, it didn't say sorry, it has no remorse for my feelings. And I was so sad. So pretty much the entire me decorating the enclosure, all the plants, all the dirt, all the fun, I lost all of the fun. But I'm gonna make do with what I have. So this is my cleanup crew. It's just the same cleanup crew I had last time. It's giant canyon isopods, mealworms, springtails. I want to add another colony of isopods soon. And here's the final result I have for plants, mainly calatheas. I love calatheas, they are my favorite plant. A snake plant, some pothos, another plant I forget the name of, but it's doing great. I have those beautiful rocks that I found that inspired this enclosure, some wonderful wood from reptile expos, that floating tube, that's Cygnus's favorite floating tube, he loves his tube, and this is the woodsy side, lots of climbing opportunities, the basking side, lots of basking opportunities. I used Arcadia bulbs for the basking bulb, it's just the halogen bulb, and then their shade dweller UVB plus a plant light from the BioDude, and all of them seem to be working out very well, and I love this enclosure. I think it's the most proud I've ever been of an enclosure, so I hope you like it. Cygnus loves it. He explores every inch of his enclosure, which is my favorite thing of owning reptiles. And here's my little angel. What a perfect boy. He truly uses every inch of this enclosure, and that's why I love bluebirds so much. They're so active, so fun to watch. He climbs, he digs. He's perfect to me. Here he is climbing, using his background. I love him so much. I'm smiling watching it back, and I just filmed this. Isn't that crazy? I love him, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.